Okay, welcome back. And we were talking about sugar before the break. And Ray had a very interesting question about the different types of sugars. And we talked a little bit about natural sugars. And I like honey as a very natural sugar. I think honey is probably the best thing you can use because of not only helping with allergies, especially this local honey that you can buy here, because it's actually like what we do with allergy shots when we give someone, we find out they're allergic to something, we actually challenge the antigen, give them smaller increasing doses of the actual substance they're allergic to. So that's why it's so dangerous to get allergy shots, because they ramp it up, and you basically overwhelm the immune system with the antigen. So that's a risk of sending someone into acute anaphylaxis, because you're actually giving them what they're allergic to, and you're desensitizing
And the
them.
honey is a slower process.
Yes, and it's absorbed
And
naturally.
much safer.
Yeah, much safer, absorbed through the intestinal tract. So if I had to pick one sugar that I think would be at the top of the list, it would be honey.
Yeah, I agree.
And that should be your sweetener that you use for just about anything that you want to. Now, and I love natural raw sugar. I think the other imperial sugar is bleached. Some people have a problem with that, and I think anytime you add a chemical to it, that might be a problem. Coconut sugar is very good, okay? Coconut sugar is very natural. It's not as sweet as cane sugar, but it's very healthy too. Then you start getting into these natural other plant substances, like I think it's stevia, stevia or whatever. I'm not really familiar with all of them. That's supposed to be decent, but I would stay away from saccharin.
Oh, yeah.
I would stay away from aspartame, and I would stay away from that other combination one, Splenda or something along that line, because I don't think anytime you're getting into an artificial sweetener, some of them have been linked to bladder cancer. It's a very soft link, but I would stay away from those. And sugar, natural sugars in the right combinations are very good for you. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Too much of it is very bad for you, and it stimulates insulin and fat. I mean, that's a basic thing. Alcohol is the purest sugar. 3 alcohol molecules, ethanol, make 1 sugar molecule. So when you get right down to it, when you're drinking alcohol, you're drinking pure sugar.
Straight sugar.
Straight sugar. And I think the worst combination you could do is like a Jack Daniels and Diet Coke. What's the point? I mean, I know people justify, like you say, they justify their super size when they drink a Diet Coke. And I used to drink a lot of Diet Coke. I gave it up. I don't think it helped my weight one way or the other, but I think what it does is it kind of tricks your mind, like the high fructose corn syrup. Now, high fructose corn syrup is very dangerous because it's not a sugar that your body recognizes, so it tricks your mind into thinking you're full, but you're not. And so I think it promotes actually appetite and promotes things. And that's the other thing I don't like about root vegetables, is they promote your appetite. Believe it or not, when you secrete a ton of insulin, you actually raise blood pressure, and you actually raise your appetite with that. So when you're eating those things, those actually making you hungrier. So if I were you, I would stay away from the root vegetables and pasta.
Well, less is better in just about anything that we do out there, Mike.
So that I think would conclude the sugar. If you have any other topics on that, you can call up. I'm sure it'll stimulate something in my memory that I read somewhere. So let's see. I do feel for the poor victims of the Orlando shooting. I think that is.
I do too.
And I really hate the arguments about gun safety and taking away guns. I'm very pro Second Amendment. I don't mind stating that. And it's just one of those things where you can come into my office and you can see that I'm pro Second Amendment. It's not the guns that kill people, it's the people that kill people. And I really don't like the media, the way they twist it around and say this guy had an automatic AK-47. I mean, you can't get an automatic weapon unless you apply for the appropriate tax stamp, and it has to be one that was licensed prior to 1986 and registered with the federal government. And I think in the study that was shown of all the legal automatic weapons for people to have. Only one or two of the thousands that are registered to the federal government have ever been committed, have been involved in a crime. And the criminals will always get guns, and they will always, and they always go to, if you ever notice this, they always go to gun-free zones.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking
Maybe that's
about,
what they should outlaw.
yeah, gun-free zones, right. Well, I've always believed that an armed society is a polite society.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way it is. Chuck, welcome to the show.
Hey, Doc, thanks. You're sounding like the flag man now.
Yeah. Well, I love the flag man when he's out there promoting that.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, he is my hero, to
Yeah.
say the least. Anyway, I got hooked on this series, Drug Inc., or Drugs Inc., and it's on, oh, hell, I forgot the name of the network. But anyway, it's been running since 2012, and it covers, everything. From all the different perspectives of the cartel, of the runners, of the users, of the doctors, and on and on. And it's a fascinating series. I've been through about 17 episodes, which are an hour long, and it's like I'm addicted to it. But anyway, something I just ran across tonight that I found interesting is the U.S. government is taking FedEx to court because they are alleging that since 2000 they've conspired with 2 internet pharmacies to ship powerful sleep aids, sedatives, painkillers, and other drugs to customers who have not been physically examined by a doctor. FedEx continued to ship drugs from the pharmacy groups even as law enforcement officials shut down some of their affiliates, prosecutors allege. But it's kind of got the whole world kind of dropping their jaw because the U.S. government never takes these big guys, to court. And there's a lot of amazing things happening around the world. I don't know if you heard Trump today actually talking about guns and the fact that if one of the people there had a gun, maybe this idiot wouldn't have killed 50 or whatever happened. So anyway, I just thought I'd call in and warn you, especially because my doctor is leaving Pahrump, and I called in and made an appointment to see Dr. Reiner. So you're going to be stuck with me.
that's great.
Good for you, Chuck.
Thank you.
And I'm going to come over to you, too,
Great.
Dr. Christensen.
Great.
Yeah,
I mean, you're both going to have to keep me on my feet somehow.
well, we'll do our best. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, thanks. And Doc, I loved your show or your statement about the essential things the body needs, and everything else is really bull.
Well, it really is, and you really do have to be aware of the poisons that are out there in the food we eat. I mean, we have to be more educated about non-GMO based foods and trying to stick within this this boundary. I mean, there's so many things out there, and I know good food is expensive. And and as you see shrinking incomes, it becomes harder and harder to do that. The lesson in that is that, listen, you vote with your pocketbook. So if you were to do yourself a favor and balance your budget and eat less but eat better food,
Yes.
then what you force the bad food producers to do is make better food, because they are constantly checking what they're selling. The marketing, it's like tentacles. I mean, it's almost like they look at every click that you make on the computer.
They scan everything that goes through, and that's
Yeah.
how they know.
Right.
When you go through the checkout
Right,
screen.
and so they absolutely know everything you're buying. So if you really start looking for healthier food and eating less that's out there, and I don't mind using that word because it's exactly what you're eating, and if you start doing that, my wife, as beautiful as she is, she says, you've been eating that crap for years and it hadn't killed you yet. I understand that, but I also understand that I watch what people do to their bodies over time. The human body is an amazing, resilient organ in itself, complex of different organs. And what we do to our body and how much the insults we take, it's not just one day it all changes. No, it's just this. It's the Grand Canyon. The slow tide of insults that we make eventually become a cataclysm of insults, and then you've got a disease, and now you can't go back and re-undo it. So you've got to, you know, and I know the story, right? I mean, if I knew I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself.
I hear
right?
that every day.
You hear that every day. Well, it's never too late to start taking better care of yourself, and you do that with the foods you eat. And you know, have people that, you know, have the excuse, well, you know, this and that and the other. I mean, listen, make small changes. Rome wasn't built in a day. Just look at one aspect of your life, you know, and make that small positive change. Just getting up from the dinner table and walking after you eat. That's it by enough. Even if you can't change what you eat, you can certainly burn those calories off. I mean, everybody goes and exercises, and then they sit at the dinner table, and they sit in their chair and watch the TV. No wonder we're all fat and lazy and don't want to do anything. So you have to keep moving. And you said that last show, and you said it almost every show.
Got to move.
Got to move.
Got to keep moving.
Yeah, if you have degenerative arthritis, you have to move. And you know, it's very interesting, Chuck, what you said about the FedEx. This is the government's thing, quote unquote. You should have known. I don't know how FedEx knows. I attended a conference where the DEA and a retired DEA agent was talking about how they spotted these pharmacies, and what happens in most of these pharmacies, these products are actually, they're made in India. They're made in third world countries, right? The pharmacias have moved their production plants over that. So what happens is the plant supposedly closes at 6 o'clock, but it opens at midnight, okay, with a select group of people, and they produce all the same medications, lot numbers, everything else. Plant closes at 3 a.m. in the morning. For 3 hours, they make thousands of pills, goes out, no record of it, and it's shipped to the United States under the guise of the actual product, and it is the actual product. And what they do, what the federal government and the DEA is, that they actually profile certain packages, okay? And then what about the customs agent? You know, everything has to be listed in customs.
Yep.
Where's the U.S. Customs in all this? They're the ones that are letting the go through, you know, and now they want to turn around and do FedEx. I mean, I don't like what I see, and I don't like the political system it is. And my son, we're going to go to break in just a minute, but he showed me this montage on his phone of Donald Trump going back to the early 80s, and his story has never changed.
Yeah.
Not once. We'll be back. Stay tuned.